From Illinois Public Media News, this is 217 Today. I'm Stephanie Mosqueda. It's Wednesday, June 5th. Coming up, we'll learn more about why Illinois lawmakers have failed to pass Karina's bill aimed at protecting domestic violence victims. That story in just a few minutes. But first, these headlines. The University of Illinois Flash Index of the state's economy fell slightly from April to May to 102.6. The index is an analysis of the state's tax receipts. Any number above 100 indicates a growing economy. Economist Fred Geertz blames the decrease on weak revenue growth, especially for individual income tax receipts. He says it reflects what most observers believe, that the state and the U.S. economies are undergoing a so-called soft landing that slows inflation while avoiding a recession. But Geertz says that that's little consolation for consumers dealing with high prices and high interest rates affecting the housing market. 2 teenagers were shot in Urbana over the weekend. 2022 statistics from the Federal Bureau of Investigation have shown a decrease in crime across Illinois, but the chief of police says that that is not the case for Urbana anymore. IPM's May Antar reports.
Urbana Police Chief Larry Boone made the case for increasing his staff by 13 uniformed and non-uniformed officers to the city council on Monday, but some community members opposed the idea. James Corbin was paralyzed by a gunshot wound when he was 24. He now works with First Followers, a reentry program for the previously incarcerated.
Policing is basically don't do this, you'll go to jail. It's an after the fact type of program. Ours is a proactive program. We look for the youth before they get involved in something like this. You got to teach them how to see or vision themselves in the future.
But Chief Boone says violent crime in Urbana has gone up by 14% since January.
Now, violent crime, all crime has gone down in the last 40 years, for the most part, in most cities, because police have just gotten better at how we address crime. But what I'm saying to you, where we are year to date compared to last year, crime is up.
To lower crime, Boone says they need to increase their manpower, have the proper technology, and build better community relations. May Antar, IPM News.
The Center for Performing Arts at Western Illinois University will be named after one of Western's former presidents. Rich Eggert reports.
The building will be known as the Goldfarb Center for Performing Arts in honor of Al and Elaine Goldfarb. Al Goldfarb says naming is extremely important and personal to him.
My parents were Holocaust survivors. There was no expectation that my father's name would carry on. He was the only survivor in his family.
Now the name will carry on with a building that should be substantially completed by November of 2025. The original plans for the building date back to the 1970s, but ended up gathering dust. Goldfarb revived the project when he became Western's president in 2002. However, it took until a couple years ago for the state to come through with money for the project. Goldfarb retired from Western in 2011 and now lives in Bloomington Normal, but he plans to be there for opening night at the Goldfarb Center for Performing Arts in Macomb. Rich Egger reporting.
Still to come, we'll learn more about why Illinois lawmakers have failed to pass Karina's bill. That story is coming up next on 217 Today.
Next time on the 21st show, our week-long investigation into fentanyl continues as we turn to the politics of the crisis. We'll talk about how it's being weaponized nationally and hear different perspectives on what Illinois ought to be doing. I'm Brian Mackey. That's next time on the 21st show. Join us.
You're listening to 217 Today. I'm Stephanie Mosqueda. Illinois lawmakers wrapped up their legislative session last month once again without passing Karina's bill or even calling it for a full vote. The measure would require judges to order the confiscation of guns from people who have emergency restraining orders against them. The bill had bipartisan support, and advocates for domestic violence survivors say it would save lives. So why is this popular, uncontroversial bill still stuck in committee? Mawa Iqbal tried to get some answers.
Monica Alvarez traveled from Chicago to Springfield in April. Speaking at a rally outside of the Capitol building, she said it was both painful and heartbreaking for her to be there.
But I stand here today because my cousin Karina and Daniela were murdered on July 3rd, 2023.
Karina Gonzalez and her 15-year-old daughter Daniela were shot and killed in their little village home, allegedly by Karina's husband. The court had ordered her husband to stay away from Karina and her family, citing threatening behavior.
An order of protection was not enough.
The murders took place just a few blocks from Democratic State Senator Selena Villanueva's district office. She soon after became the chief Senate sponsor of Karina's bill, a measure aimed at removing guns from those accused of domestic violence.
We've seen stories continuously, and with each and every one of those stories, my heart hurts.
Since then, a large network of survivor and gun control groups joined the charge. Even Republicans, like Senate Minority Leader John Curran, are behind the bill.
It is incumbent upon us as policymakers to separate domestic abusers from firearms.
So why did the General Assembly just finish their third legislative session in a row with Karina's bill going nowhere? Villanueva insists the holdup is from law enforcement groups. John Milner is with the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police, and he says they do have some concerns. The bill's requirement that officers have only 4 days after protective order is issued to remove the guns, he says is too burdensome for smaller departments and could put officers in danger if they don't have enough time or people.
We have to make sure it's done safely, and not just for the police officers, but for the victims of those crimes as well as the neighborhood.
But Milner says their concerns could easily be addressed, and overall, police chiefs like the legislation.
I say we're all on the same side on this. We want to do what we can to prevent any more domestic violence situations from occurring. And if we can find some common ground to make this work, let's do it.
The problem, he says, is that so far he's been invited to just one roundtable meeting with lawmakers, police groups, and bill advocates to hammer out the details.
I think there has to be more meetings than just an occasional meeting here and there.
I went back to Villanueva to ask her, if this is a priority, then why hasn't she called more meetings?
That's based on people's schedules. It's not something that I can say. I mean, my schedule's also all over the place.
But advocates for domestic violence survivors say there is no time to waste.
The intersection of firearms and domestic violence is well known to be high lethality and high risk.
Maralia Negron is Director of Policy and Research for The Network, an umbrella group of over 40 domestic violence survivor groups. She says deaths from domestic violence shootings in Illinois are on the rise. Negron was standing beside Monica Alvarez at the rally in Springfield last month.
It has been disappointing working on this to see all of the momentum and all of the coalition of support that we received for really the bill not to move forward.
Lawmakers will be back in Springfield for a short legislative session in the fall. Negron says her group is willing to do the work to get Karina's bill across the finish line. I'm Mawa Iqbal.
And finally, in your forecast, meteorologist Andrew Pritchard says it'll be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms and a high of 80 degrees. That's it for today. 217 Today is produced by Stephanie Mosqueda. Reporting today contributed by May Antar, Rich Egger, and Mawa Iqbal. Music by the Kilbourne Alley Blues Band. Reginald Hardwick is our news director. 217 Today is a production of Illinois Public Media. Thanks for listening, stay safe, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.